This week in Delaware County, my guest is 6th District Congressman Greg Pence. I wore a tie for you today, sir, because
Doggone. Good morning, Steve. Thank you. What is it?
I thought we might be, WebEx or Zoom. You might see me, so I wanted to dress for the room. I mean, come on now, you're a big shot. What's wrong with that?
I got a funny story to tell you about that.
Okay.
You ready for it?
Yeah, please.
What? Well, first of all, tell me what the tie is.
Well, it's a Jerry Garcia. I thought it was hipster. It's a blue and gray and black sort of thing with a white shirt, button down. I got the black slacks on. I'm looking pretty darn professional here. I gotta be honest with you.
Doggone.
Your story. What's your story now? Tell me the story.
Well, I've been going out last week. I went left Tuesday night, came back Wednesday back to the district, and I voted in a committee hearing about waters of the United States. And so in that committee hearing, the chairman requires the people that don't show up. By the way, I was one of 14 out of 68 that showed up in the committee room. Everybody stayed home and Zoomed it in.
Okay.
And one gentleman from Arizona, you gotta come up on the screen, state your name, and then vote yay or nay. Well, the chairman kept calling his name, and finally, John, you have to put on your video. And when he did, John was fishing out on a lake.
Jeez, that's awkward.
Well, you talk about dressing for the job. He wasn't even showing up for the job.
Yeah, you've told me plenty of times that you like being with the constituents. You were just in Muncie not that long ago at the chamber event, and as far as zooming it in, as you call it, or voting by proxy, you've made it very clear you're not in favor of either.
Yeah, and thanks for I don't like that. That's not my job. I'm supposed to represent the people in person, whether it's back in the district or out in Washington, D.C. They gave me a card to vote with, and I'm supposed to take that card and stick it in the voting machine out here in Washington, D.C. By the way, I'm in Washington, D.C., flew out last night. We got a busy 2 weeks in a row, be almost the longest time I've ever been out here. For sure it will be. And we got, hopefully we're wrapping up before the break, and I can get back out in the district.
Back in session, you got all the suits are in play. Are they all physically there? Is that required at this juncture now, House and Senate? I guess our listeners would like to know how that works nowadays.
Well, the Senate is in session. The administration is working.
Yeah.
The Senate all shows up. If you're able. I mean, if you're not feeling well, that's one thing. But the House Representatives, they can still give their vote to somebody that doesn't know anything about their constituents, have them vote. So, real shame. But, I was back in after I saw you 2 weeks ago. I was back in Muncie last week.
Okay.
Met with the mayor, met with the sheriff, and that had some conversations with them, about some of the issues that concern them and some of the things I had been hearing, and so that's how I kind of decide what I'm going to do and how I'm going to represent people when I get out here.
One of the million things that you and your compatriots will have to be dealing with is the possibility of another stimulus thing. The House, I think, Speaker Pelosi has a $3 trillion package on the table. I think the Senate has been talking about the possibility of a $1 trillion situation. How do you think this is going to go, and where do you think this should go next?
So that's something that's going to happen next week, because I've got the schedule for this week. We know the administration would like a payroll reduction, both for companies and for individual employees. I favor that because, as I've gone around, when you ask me where do you think this should go, businesses are still trying to get their feet under them, and especially certain businesses, hotels, restaurants, entertainment, musicians. There's all kinds of folks that, it really hasn't, the economy hasn't come back for them. So I think we're going to be a little more targeted this time. Let me break it down for you a little bit.
Yeah.
One is, I think if what any stimulus we end up with will probably help some of these industries that we don't want to go away. I can tell you in my own hometown of Columbus, Indiana, 2 famous long-term diners announced in the last week or so they're permanently closing. They just can't make it with the percentage of occupancy, and they're at an age and in a situation where they're just not going to open up. I think last time folks at a certain level got $1,200 stimulus check. I'm not sure that that's as necessary as maybe the paycheck tax relief, where everybody can get a little something, particularly the employers will be participating in that. Then the liability, Steve, is just a big deal. Some folks like to say, well, I don't think we ought to give COVID liability protection to businesses. They should do the right thing. Well, it's not just the businesses. It's cities, states, counties, schools, universities, hospitals, non-for-profits. So I anticipate that liability protection from the trial lawyers and class action lawsuits is something that's going to get in there. And then a big issue that I heard, actually you and I both heard at the chamber there in Muncie, and then I spent a lot of time in the last 2 weeks going meeting in many communities throughout the district about what you thought was important to get your business back going, and chambers and economic development. This $600 supplement is inhibiting companies getting back up on their feet as well. And so I think that's going to be a bone of contention. I've heard it from enough employers that have tried to call their employees back and to get their businesses back going, and they don't want that to continue. So I'm not going to support that, but I know some other folks want to continue that.
Part of that, a lot of money. Part of that is as I understand it, that you're almost incentivizing people to make as much or maybe more money staying home as opposed to going back to work, and that obviously is not good for the employers. And I think it ultimately isn't necessarily the best thing for the employee either, because and you kind of, I don't know, you might get a little resting on your laurels sort of a situation where you kind of want to get something, in the mail as opposed to get out and do some good work and help some people and, help your community and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think you're 100% right there. And, some of the businesses have said to me, if my employees don't come back, I don't know how much business I'm going to have left.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get going. I'm trying to pay my bills, and, I can't get employees to come back and do the work. And that's kind of manufacturing, restaurants. They don't have enough employees. They're trying to get back up. So there's two sides of that coin, and that's exactly why I favor the payroll tax break, incentivize everybody to get back, because that's 6% of your pay. Yeah. That's a pretty good thing to get back to work.
Absolutely.
Stay cool.
You too. Whoa, it's going to be a scorcher in Indiana. Is it hot in D.C. too? I don't know what the weather's like there.
They said 100. I got up early this morning and went for a walk because I figured I'm not going to get to do it tonight.
Will you be wearing a vice presidential short-sleeve dress shirt like the brother does sometimes?
I wish I could, but he won't give me anything. It's hard to get him to return my calls.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it, Greg.
All right. Have a great day. Thanks.
All right, bye.